It's part of the regulations in this Porsche Carrera Cup GBR. If you're found guilty of an incident, then you can lose points in the championship. So that's happened to Bridgman, but he's still sitting second in the points. Michael Caine on the outside of the front row, on the right as we look at it there. He's the one that really lost out with that non-finish, and he'll be desperate on a circuit where he's won at before, and he loves this track, Michael Caine. Let's see what he can do. Very close bunched grid. They line up in formation, no stagger to the grid in the Porsches. Let's see what happens at the start. Lights out, away we go, and off the front row, Michael Caine going with Bridgman, but Bridgman with the track position on the run down to the first corner. Karl Leonard getting up into third place. Tim Harvey is trying to get fourth from his teammate James Sutton, and there's some other cars running wide on the exit of Old Hall, but it's Bridgman in front, Caine in second place, Karl Leonard in third. Look at the battle for fourth. It is James Sutton just getting ahead of Tim Harvey.
Just in the background, Derek Pearce was completely out of shape, then he's gone round. He's been collected by Tony Gillam. That's very significant. They're both fighting for the Pro-Am category, which is the 2009 cars, but for the drivers that are not fully professional drivers. And Gillam has been driving very, very well. Had a really strong run yesterday. Has in fact did Derek Pearce qualified exceptionally well. The JHR guys doing well, but as it's status quo for Tim Bridgman though at the front end. There's smoke coming from Glengetty's car, the Apex Tubulars car. It's got some damage, I think, on the rear wheel.
Rob Lawson sitting in behind Tim Harvey. It's Bridgman leading, Caine second, Karl Leonard third, the silver and blue car of James Sutton next up. Glengetty in trouble, as you mentioned. There's our guest driver, Richard Singleton, in car number 61, and Sutton now trying to get past, coming up the hill into Druids corner, and he's managed to get past Karl Leonard. So that's a good move by James Sutton in the SAS machine. That puts him up into third place. Tim Harvey is trying to follow him through in the blue and orange car, and Karl Leonard just losing out somewhere there.
Yeah, Leonard, of course, as you said, did an outstanding job in qualifying to put himself right at the front. Very quick around Oulton Park. Singleton, a guest driver in the Porsche Driver Centre car, manages just to get down the inside of Getty. It looks to me it's like the rear wheel has maybe got the rear body wheel arch rather, is Leonard having to defend from Tim Harvey, has possibly been pushed onto Glengetty's car. That's what's causing the smoke. But Leonard, what a tremendous drive, very, very smooth and committed was he around here. And this is a circuit which really does sort the men out, doesn't it, Ben?
It does, but Tim Harvey is getting a little held up here. He's got Rob Lawson breathing down his neck. So Harvey in the middle of these three cars. He's in the blue and orange car, the reigning champion, of course, and he wants to try and find a way past Karl Leonard fairly quickly so that he can get on terms with the race leader. But Tim Bridgman already about a second ahead up the road. Michael Caine is sitting second. James Sutton is third. Then, as we know, Karl Leonard, there he is in fourth place. Tim Harvey in fifth, but trying to get fourth. Not quite there. To have a little look down the inside into his lot through Knickerbrook, and Rob Lawson tucked in behind still at the moment. And just to remind you that Karl Leonard's not in Pro-Am 1, he's in Pro-Am 2, which is the slightly older car. It's the 06-07 car. It's about 20 to 25 brake horsepower down on the cars around him, but it's also 25 kilos lighter. So here at Oulton Park, it doesn't seem to make too much difference.
I think the driver makes such a big difference around here, much more than some other circuits we visit where perhaps it's all about the car. But Tim Harvey is no mean driver, so pulled off a fantastic overtaking manoeuvre at that corner there, Lodge, on Damien Faulkner back in 2007, and really caught Damien napping. And we know the experience and the ability that Tim Harvey's got. Karl Leonard, far less experienced, of course, been racing in his home country in Ireland in little Fiat Puntos when we used to visit Mondello Park. Part of British Touring Cars, we watched Karl and his brother Michael racing there. But little tap there on the brakes, you see the brake lights come on. That's just to make sure that the brake pads are up against the discs. Sometimes when you go over a big curve, the pads can vibrate away. And the driver is Leonard, just having to push so hard. He's run wide. This is Harvey's chance.
Yeah, definitely. To the outside goes Harvey, and he's in front before they even get on the brakes into the hairpin. That slight, tiny error from Karl Leonard is exactly what Tim Harvey was looking for. But the top three have definitely made a bit of a break. Now it's up to Tim Harvey to try and close up that gap and look after the tyres in this heat. Bridgman leads, Caine in second place, Sutton in third place. There's Harvey now in fourth. Karl Leonard, Rob Lawson chasing on behind. So Karl Leonard still leads in his class in the Pro-Am 2 category, and Rob Lawson leads in Pro-Am 1. Glengetty still running, despite that bit of damage we saw earlier. Glyn actually in the background, still putting quite a lot of pressure on Richard Singleton. So the car's still working reasonably well, as Karl Leonard coming under pressure here now from Rob Lawson. Number 36, that's Karl Leonard, but Rob Lawson wants a way past.
Yeah, drove superbly, Rob Lawson. Worked his way to the front of the Pro-Am category yesterday in a real dogfight between him and Gillam, and also Pearce. Glengetty was in the mix as well. It was just Ollie Jackson who got himself a podium in his class as well. Drove very, very well, the youngster in the motor-based performance car. But certainly the Pro-Am category is every bit as competitive as the main series, and Lawson, we know the quality of them as a driver, winning in Renault Clio Cup, winning in his Seat Cooper Championship, narrowly missing out on the championship to, of course, certain Jonathan Adam, of course, doing so well in British touring cars now, but looks like Leonard's struggling here at this particular corner.
Yeah, he was wide here last time, he was wide turning in, and he's lost momentum again, and he's under pressure from Rob Lawson, who's going to try and do what Tim Harvey did, and I think he's going to manage it, although Karl Leonard's got the inside line and breaks deep and late, and that's good defensive work, and he's got to be careful because Richard Singleton, right behind in car 61, almost saw an opportunity to nip through on the inside. This is the first ever Porsche Carrera race for Richard Singleton. He was one of the finalists in the scholarship, the Porsche scholarship, that ultimately gave an opportunity to Tom Bradshaw and Lewis Hopkins, who are both out there in this race. But Richard Singleton having his first real chance, he's loving it. Spoke to him this morning, absolutely loving driving this car. He was quick in the race yesterday, still learning so much about racing one of these cars. He's only raced karts and single-seaters before now, and he's just off this little battle at the moment. But Singleton sitting in 7th place and doing a good job so far.
Doing an exceptionally good job. He's only around about half a second away from the pace of the drivers of the like of James Sutton and Tim Harvey, who are both former champions, of course, in this series. So that puts it into context. Loves it round here as well, which helps, as we said, the Karl Leonard syndrome, if you like. Knowing this place and liking it a lot makes a massive difference. Lawson's not scared either. The Barden Aggregates car looking very well. As I said, the JHR drivers, both Lawson and Derek Pierce, have done an absolutely outstanding job to qualify as well up as they have done overall, and to be consistently racing with that sort of pace as well. So there again, the left-hander in Cascades is really struggling. It's almost like there's some sort of grip issue or handling issue with Leonard's car through left-handers that seems to really catch him out.
Yeah, it really does seem like that. I think he may have a problem with that car. He's locked up, he's got a puncture or something, because he couldn't stop. He couldn't help himself there. He ran into the side of Singleton, got a fall, and Glenn-Geddy, what is he trying to do?
Well, he was just basically taking his normal line, moving over to the left, but unfortunately Singleton was still there, so no, by definition Glyn sort of ran himself over the front of Singleton. Very unfortunate for the Apex Tubulars and Bishopston driver. Really has been very competitive, but Ollie Jackson's got ahead of him now. He drove a great job in Avantis car yesterday, and David Bartram of Motorbase Performance said we've got a little star on our hands here. He's going to get quicker and quicker as he gets more experience.
Let's take another look at this, Simon, as they head down. Definite problems there for Karl Leonard.
Yeah, just couldn't get it started, as you said, Ben. A fairly innocuous chap in terms of not really damaging the car. Geddy takes his line, and you see a combination of Geddy taking his line, Singleton not backing out of it, and it was a bit of a, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. I don't think you could really blame either driver other than, Karl Leonard off the road. That tyre's gone down, as we thought maybe there was a problem. And,
yeah, right rear's flat, and he's clambering out of the car. And that's obviously a huge disappointment, because he was one of the stars of qualifying, no doubt about it. But that was causing him problems for a while. That's why he couldn't get through the left-hander. That right rear was gradually going down, and now it's given up completely, and that was part of the reason for him running into the other car. Let's take a look. This is where it all went wrong for him. Up at Druids, about the scariest place it could possibly happen.
Yeah, it's not the place for him to go off. Unfortunately for Karl, it looks like a fairly innocuous accident. I think got maybe a little bit of damage to the front left. But again, in the Nice Hotel car, really doing an outstanding job. RSS Performance getting the car working well, and I think that's going to get us a safety car, Ben.
Yeah, it is. So everyone's going to be stacked up behind race leader Tim Bridgman. Interestingly, James Sutton has actually been the fastest in this race. 2 successive fastest laps up until this point, with the safety car now on circuit and not picking the leaders up right now, but it will, of course, neutralise the race. And into the pits, Richard Singleton had that contact. Looked as though it may well have damaged the tyre. He had 2 contacts. He had one initially where he was hit by Karl Leonard, who was trying to control his car with a puncture, and then another contact with Glenn-Geddy on the exit of the hairpin. Top 3 then, Bridgman, Kane and Sutton. This will give Tim Harvey a chance to catch those top 3, because the safety car will bring them all together, of course. And there you can see the safety car board, the yellow flag at the start line as they come across, and they'll be picked up a bit further around the lap. Still sitting in 5th is Rob Lawson, leading in the Pro-Am 1. Then it's Tom Bradshaw, silver and black car. Michael Leonard then still running, but Karl, I'm afraid, is out of this race, and that's a disappointing way to